Good evening, I'm Camilo Martinez. Our top stories. The University of Buckingham raises awareness for Student Mental Health Day. One of the rarest bats comes under threat from HS2. Art-loving historian sheds light on one of the lost relics of the French Revolution. University Mental Health Day was set up a year ago to address what was seen as a rarely discussed issue. Now, thanks to a national campaign and the work done by our own student welfare team, students with depression don't have to suffer alone. Alexandra Asemi reports.
Mental health is an issue that can affect us all, including the ones we love. Today, the university took part in Mental Health Awareness Day, an initiative to help students with mental health problems.
The national initiative seeks to get people from educational institutions involved in ensuring the mental health and well-being of students at higher education level. 1 in 4 British adults will experience at least one diagnosable mental health problem in any 1 year. 1 in 6 experiences this at any given time. It is also estimated that 450 million people worldwide have a mental health problem. We asked Kate Young from Student Welfare what someone should do if they or a friend are having issues.
If you have a friend who you feel is struggling, as I said before, try and persuade them to come in to see someone. We can work out try and work out what the issue is, whether they're struggling with academic work, which can then trigger something else, emotional upset or vice versa. If you're very worried, then let us know, and as I said before, we might make contact.
We also asked a student about her experiences with depression and how she's overcome it.
It started before university, at the end of sixth form. I probably had mental health issues longer than that, but that's when they kind of started to really kick up. If you think you've got a problem, I would find somebody to talk to. It's definitely not something to be ashamed of, and it's not anything that defines you as a person.
If you or a friend are experiencing problems or cannot cope with mental health issues, the Student Welfare Department's door is always open. This is Alexandra Asemi for Buckingham News.
Bats are small and often go unnoticed, but their habitat is currently under threat from a high-speed rail line that is in its second stage of development. We sent Sara Cortez to find out more about the small creatures.
The HS2 project will affect many woodlands in and around the Buckinghamshire area, as well as the habitats of some very rare bats.
I asked Matt Dodds from the North Bucks Bat Group about the rail line's effects on the bats in the area and what they are doing to help them.
How much will the bats' habitat be affected?
Well, at the moment the bats are flying between the woodlands, so they're flying from woodland to woodland along the old line of the old railway line, and each of those woodlands will form part of their feeding territory. Now, if you put a great big railway line in between all those woodlands, then it cuts down on the places that they can feed, but also places that they have to breed and to hibernate. So unless you put some sort of mitigation in between the woodlands, then the likelihood is that the bats will be very badly affected by the train line.
The HS2 project is estimated to cost £33 billion, create thousands of new jobs and cut journey times from London to Manchester by half, but at an environmental cost.
Where will the HS2 cut through?
HS2 is planned to come literally at the top of that avenue up there. And then the main point that we're concerned about is where it cuts between about 5 or 6 different woodlands, which is a very important site for bats.
What is the North Bucks Bat Group going to do to prevent this?
Well, what we're doing at the moment is we are gathering lots of information to understand as much as we can about the bat population, and the more we understand about how it moves across the railway line and how important the connections are between the railway line, then we can inform the mitigation and compensation measures. I think the chances of us actually stopping it are extremely slim, but what we can do is we can make sure that the population isn't negatively affected.
How many species of bats will be affected?
Well, so far we've recorded about 13 species in that area. Now, there's only 17 species in the British Isles, so you can see just from the numbers of bat species that it's an extremely important site. But more importantly than that, we've recorded one of the rarest bats in the whole of Europe there, which is called the Bechstein's bat. Now, the population in the Burnwood Forest represents the most north-easterly population in the whole of the British Isles, and it's separated from other populations by literally hundreds of miles.
If the government proceeds on to the next stage of the project, they have to make sure that the wildlife will be properly considered. This is Sarah Cordes for Buckingham News.
The art world is full of mystery, known more so than the missing painting of the Frenchman Le Pelletier, who gave his life to the revolution. In his inaugural speech, art history professor and magazine owner Gert Rudolf Flick shared his research on the mystery. David Mackenzie James was there.
Professor Gert Rudolf Flick's inaugural lecture took place in the Radcliffe Centre on Tuesday evening.
Professor Flick, we welcome you most warmly to the University of Buckingham. We congratulate you on your professorial appointment, and we now look forward to its inauguration in tonight's lecture, a missing icon from the French Revolution, Jean-Louis David Le Pelletier. Ladies and gentlemen, Professor Gert Rudolf Flick.
He spoke about his book, Missing Masterpieces, a book about a dozen or so great paintings thought to be lost, none of which, however, are definitely destroyed.
The discovery of missing works of art is important because they can contribute to a deeper and more comprehensive understanding of an epoch. And this is what art historians look for, a better understanding of the historical development and stylistic context of a work of art.
Professor Flick talks in particular about a missing icon from the French Revolution, the Jacques-Louis David portrait of Louis-Michel Le Pelletier.
We do have an important drawing of the missing painting. It is by David's pupil Anatole Desvosges. We see a half-naked man lying on his deathbed.
After Le Pelletier's murder, the painting was hung in the National Convention, later returned to David, and finally bought by Le Pelletier's daughter, Suzanne de Montfontaine. It is rumoured that Suzanne de Fontaine destroyed the painting before her death. In his talk, Professor Flick discredited these rumours.
We come to the conclusion that Suzanne, in her words and in her actions, had shown no inclination to destroy the portrait of her father. She had said explicitly that she wanted to protect the picture out of her daughter's love.
This is Dave Mackenzie James reporting for Buckingham News.
For those who believe that English is fast becoming the only language in the world should take note, as there are more than 6,000 mother tongues around. To mark International Language Day, Leandra Berhans went to find some student proud of their native language.
Frohen Muttersprachentag. There was Happy Mother Language Day in German. We also asked other students of the university how to say it in their language.
Selamat menyambut Hari Bahasa Ibunda.
Madri Zaban Mubarak ko tamam talong ko.
Gazuar Ditan Juhas Tanana.
Harumani polyglossa.
Glädje an moder tungomáladag.
À nous célébrer le langage.
In 1999, UNESCO decided to celebrate World Mother Language Day. It is an observance held annually to promote awareness of linguistic and cultural diversity and multilingualism. Each year, UNESCO sets a theme and holds related events at its headquarters in Paris on or around the 21st of February. The University of Buckingham supports this idea and demonstrates this through its percentage of international students.
See, in Buckingham, we are not short of multilinguists. On Mother Language Day, we are even more proud to have so many languages being spoken.
This is Leandra Berens for Buckingham News.
It might have passed everyone by because we are so used to seeing them on our plates, but our love affair with the chip is being celebrated this week. Chip Week marks almost 2 centuries of the marriage of the humble potato and a frying pan, and long may it continue. Chris Gomez has this on a chiptastic celebration.
Yep. Today marks the end of Fish and Chips Week, and we've gone around asking people what their favourite kind of chips are.
Nando's chips, with a peri sprinkle on top.
Big chunky chips. I'm not very keen on the tiny French fries.
Really chunky ones, sort of fluffy in the centre but crispy on the outside. Bit of ketchup, mayo.
More than 1.6 million tonnes of potatoes are made into chips every year in the UK. It is no surprise that the UK as a nation will eat 3 billion meals a year which contain chips. We're here with the owner of the Woolpack, Alan Edmonds.
Yep, well, it's National Chip Week. It's in all of our national press, it's all of our publications and magazines that we come through. So yeah, we're aware it's National Chip Week. We buy from a national supplier, but we buy British potato and British chips from British farms.
And that concludes National Chip Week. I'm Chris Gomez for the Buckingham News.
And this week in Cooking With, Jasmine Yusuf makes us something that will go nicely with a side of chunky chips.
Everyone enjoys a good old fry-up, especially when it's a super easy meal which can be served at any point during the day. Today we have Jasmine Yusuf, who is going to show us how to make a cheese omelette with gourmet chicken.
I'm going to make an omelette, and first I'm going to crack the eggs, obviously. I'm going to use 3 eggs, but you can use more if you need more, and you can use less. 2 eggs minimum is usually the best. I'm going to just add a bit of milk and salt. It's usually to taste, it just makes it creamier. Bit of salt, and then just whisk the eggs. Got the pan on the heat. I think it's a medium heat. Just a bit of oil. The pan's hot, just adding the eggs. I'm going to let the bottom part cook. And then I'm going to add in some chicken. It's like a chicken sausagey type meat. And it kind of comes pre-cooked. And just add it in. Fold it so that the chicken is inside. I'm not that good at folding it.
I could eat that all day. Well, many thanks to Jasmine Yusuf for showing us how to cook a cheesy omelette with chicken. I'm Ben Fraser, Buckingham News.
Have a great weekend.